Have you noticed how your view on relationships begins to change as you grow older? The need to be surrounded by people, to be included in every gathering, or to belong to a large social circle starts to fade. And after a certain point, you start to realize something very important. You don't need a lot of friends after 70. In fact, you might not need many at all. Now, that might sound strange at first. We're raised believing that friendship is essential at every stage of life. But the older we get, the more we begin to understand. Not all friendships are lasting or necessary. This isn't about isolating yourself or removing joy from your life. It's about choosing peace, self-respect, and freedom as your priorities begin to shift. In this video, we're going to explore 6 powerful and liberating reasons why it's perfectly okay, even healthy, to let go of friendships that no longer support your well-being. Because aging isn't just about letting go of the past. It's about making space for a deeper connection with yourself. Stick with me to the end, because this mindset might not only change how you view your relationships, it might just inspire the most fulfilling chapter of your life yet. Let's begin. Reason 1. You've already done the work to know who you are. In your younger years, friendships were often crafted out of necessity. Childhood meant making friends to fit in. In your 20s or 30s, social circles gave you a sense of place, a tribe. Professional life brought colleagues, clients, customers, often disguised as lasting connections. But after 70, you've already seen who you are, what you've accomplished, and what truly matters. You've climbed the mountains, maybe raised a family, built a career, overcome illness or hardship. You don't need a mirror in someone else to show you who you are. You no longer seek identity through others. Let me tell you about Patricia, a proud 75-year-old woman who once had a huge banner of friendships from her work in education. Colleagues became acquaintances, and many holiday cards were exchanged. But post-retirement, she realized most of these friendships faded the moment the school doors closed behind her. She felt it at first, the emptiness where all those connections used to be. But then came clarity. They were seasonal, not spiritual. She understood that now, she gets to choose who truly matters. And more importantly, she doesn't have to perform for anyone anymore. When you've reached the point where you accept and love yourself without needing approval, that, my friend, is freedom. Most of us spend the first half of our lives earning it, and the second half learning to enjoy it. Reason 2. Serenity becomes more valuable than social chatter. Here's a truth that sneaks up quietly after 70. You begin to crave peace more than company. In youth, noise, momentum, and social buzz feel energizing. But as you age, you realize that peace is more precious than parties. It's not that you don't love people. It's just that you no longer want to be on all the time. Think of how many friendships are based on small talk, repetitive stories, or even subtle competition. Every lunch or phone call starts feeling like emotional labor. And sometimes, it simply becomes tiring. Enter solitude, not as a punishment, but a sanctuary. Take Gerald, 79, who used to meet his coffee group every Wednesday, rain or shine. But over time, the loud banter and conversational circles started draining him. He realized he didn't look forward to it anymore. So he let go of the routine. Instead, he now enjoys morning walks, jazz records, and writing short poetry. Alone? Yes. Lonely? Never. Solitude isn't abandonment. It's choosing your own rhythm. And choosing serenity is one of the greatest forms of wisdom that age can offer. Reason 3. Fewer friendships bring you more emotional clarity. Let's be honest. Not every friend is really a friend. As you get older, the masks come off. The relationships held together only by convenience or obligation begin to fall away. And that's a good thing. Because fewer friendships mean fewer disappointments. No more unanswered texts. No more wondering why you were left out of an invitation. No more bending over backward just to keep a connection alive. At 73, Mrs. Dana Shaw reflected on losing contact with people she had known for decades. At first, it felt like grief, but on reflection, she began to see how often she had been the one reaching out, the one hosting, the one giving, and rarely were those efforts returned equally. When you realize you were holding up the entire friendship, the loss doesn't hurt as much. What hurts is how long you carried it. But the silver lining? You learn to focus on relationships that return your energy. It's not about isolating yourself, it's about elevating your standards. The fewer people you entertain, the fewer people can disappoint you. Simple and powerful. Reason 4. Your time becomes sacred. Time in your 70s is not measured like time in your 30s. It feels more precious, more limited, and more meaningful. You no longer have the interest or energy to fill your calendar with events that don't fill your heart. Because after a certain age, you understand, busy is not a badge of honor. It's often a burden. Henry, now 81, once had a friend group that would meet monthly for dinner. But those evenings slowly became costly on energy and conversation. Long drives, repetitive conversation, lingering tension. At one point he asked himself, "Why am I spending hours doing something that no longer brings me joy?" That question was the beginning of a shift. He gave himself permission to say no. Now, he uses that time to visit the garden center, take short hikes in nature, and dive into photography, his old passion from college. And funny enough, he swears he's never felt more alive. Reclaiming your time isn't selfish. It's spiritual. You've earned your freedom. Now you get to choose how your days are spent. Reason 5. The most powerful relationship is with yourself. Here's a radical idea that becomes beautifully clear after 70. You are not incomplete when you are alone. The idea that we need people constantly around us to feel fulfilled is a myth often fed to us when we're young. But solitude can be deeply rewarding, a space for discovering depth within ourselves. Eleanor, 77, considered herself an extrovert her whole life. But when her husband passed away and many friends moved on, she was left with more quiet than she was used to. At first, it felt like a void. She worried the silence would consume her. But in it, she found her voice. She took up watercolor painting, learned to play the piano, started writing letters to herself. What she discovered? Everything she ever needed to feel content was already within her. A strong companionship with oneself leads to intuitive living, where you listen to your body, your instincts, your joy. You no longer depend on social activity to feel valuable. You find joy in being your own best companion. And that discovery is priceless. Reason 6. Letting go makes room for what actually matters. Letting go can be the most powerful act of love. Love for yourself. In your 70s and beyond, you have the ultimate opportunity to release what no longer feels right and welcome what actually resonates with your soul. When you let go of unnecessary friendships, you're not closing a door. You're clearing a path. James, a thoughtful and empathetic man of 76, once feared reducing his social circle. He thought stepping back meant shrinking his world, but instead, it expanded. With fewer unnecessary relationships to maintain, his energy shifted toward practicing mindfulness every morning, volunteering at a community garden he loved, exploring spirituality and journaling, spending real time with his grandchildren. His days became simpler, but richer. His mind became quieter, but clearer. And his life felt more authentic than it had in years. Letting go isn't rejection. It's a realignment. It's freeing your energy so it can be directed toward love, purpose, creativity, and wellness. And isn't that what you deserve most? Final thoughts. Living true to yourself. After 1 minute, 30 seconds. As we wrap up, let's reflect on what we've learned today. You don't need to maintain friendships out of guilt or habit. You don't need to measure your value by how many people you surround yourself with. You can choose peace over pressure, freedom over obligation, and joy over performance. You've earned the right to live your life on your terms, rooted in authenticity, clarity, and simplicity. So here's my question to you. Which of these insights resonated the most? Have you found freedom in solitude recently? Are there friendships you've been holding on to that no longer bring you joy? Let us know in the comments. We love reading your stories, and your wisdom truly inspires others in this community. If this video resonated with you, give it a like. Consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon so you never miss a message that speaks to your journey. Your support helps us continue to create heartfelt, thoughtful content for people who value depth, simplicity, and meaning. Just like you. Thanks for watching. And until next time, celebrate this season of life. Because it's yours.